Check, here we go. All right. We're going to do a song in Studio One here. We're in the coffee shop. Enjoy the background ambiance. And let's get started. So, what instrument do we want to use? I'm in Instruments here. Let's go into Personas and let's go into MIDI. And let's pull up a preset here. How about Poly and ARP5? How about ARP4? Let's use this, but let's bring the cutoff down. Maybe this envelope down. There we go. And when I woke up today, I'm like, I want to try some randomized features in Studio One. So let's just see what we could do. Let's pick the scale of A minor, natural minor. Click this, so it'll only allow us to play white keys now. And let me just draw in a bunch of notes. So see, it's only allowing me to put white keys. All right, and let's loop that, see how it sounds. Okay, I don't want anything to overlap, so let's bring this over here and over there. All right, that's not great, but you never know really how good the melody is until you put in some drums. So I'm going to go to Files, and let's go into Reggae Drums, and let's just see what we got. Okay, that's good enough to just to have something. And let's duplicate this, and then let's group this. And I want to try, I think there's a randomize feature in Studio One. So let's shrink the notes down. Let's make sure they're all selected. Control A. Oh, let's come down here and Control A. And then if we right click, let's see under musical functions if there is randomize. I thought there was. How about under... Oh, randomize notes. Let's try that. Okay, cool. It's the first time ever using this. So, original pitch range, original custom pitch range. Wow. Very cool. Let's just hit OK and see what happens. Okay, that didn't do anything. So let's try it again. Okay. Randomize notes. And apply the scale maybe. That still didn't do anything. Let's see, we got it again. Randomize notes. Pitch. Okay, I did it. Very jazzy. That's the original one we had. Here's the new one. Okay, it did not adhere to the scale that we chose. And I think that's because, if we double click this, no, the scale still was selected. Maybe it's one of the features we had. Let's do apply scale. Let's try that. There we go. And what I'd like to do is just do 4 bars, 4 measures, 4 beats. So let's right click on there, go randomize notes again, pitch, apply scale. All right. Let's go back to where we were originally. Let's do randomize notes again. Note length. So we want them to be quicker. So here we go. Let's make the range something like that. Neat. Oh, cool. So that's pretty cool. That's a pretty fun tool to use. So let's actually put in some chords now, and then this will be the top line melody. So let's quickly just let's go to presence and just drag in maybe a bass. Get rid of all this whole beginning stuff. Let's just make it real simple. Drag all this there. Just make this real short. This is what we're going to be working with. So just draw a pattern in there. And we're in A minor, so let's just and I'm going to duplicate that 4 times. And I'm going to activate the chord track if you guys never used the chord track before, because it's a real easy way to make the notes that you want for whatever you have going on. So let's go G to, actually start off with A minor, to G to F to C. Okay. And that'll be our chords. So if we open up the inspector and we have this bass line open, and we choose to follow those chords with bass, it'll change the bass notes of that. So now we have throw a piano in here. Again, an easy way to use the chord track. It's just, I'm just going to pick random spots. Don't even have to hit the right note. And just drag that out to the end. Like I said, it does not even matter what notes you pick. But now, since that's A minor, if we activate this in the chord track and let's go to narrow, let's go to parallel. It now made an A minor chord. And it automatically made this a G, an F, and a C as I duplicated this section. So here we go. Nice. And I changed my mind just because my coffee's kicking in, and I think that Mai Tai is a little boring. So let's replace that with a retro log from Steinberg. There we go. And let's add a reverb to it. Just have a straight up sine wave with reverb, and maybe bring the filter down a tad. So let's go back to filter down. All right, lower the volume a little bit. Okay, now let's throw on some random notes up here. So we're gonna randomize. So we're gonna draw some notes. So let's do A, natural minor, scale, and let's just loop that region, hear how that sounds. I don't like it, so let's right click, randomize notes, apply the scale, change the pitch. What range do we want to use? Let's extend it to maybe all the way up here just for fun. Custom pitch range, original pitch range. We use custom pitch range. Velocity, we don't mess with. Note length, yeah, let's keep it like from a 16th quarter note, eighth note to a 1/32. Let's try that. Let's hear how that sounds. Don't like it. Wish there was just a macro we could use to just bang that, hit randomize, so it's real quick. I've actually never used macros. Why don't we just jump into it now? This is the macro key. Macros. All right, if I can't figure this out in 2 seconds, we'll move on to something else here. Macro organizer. All right, let's do a new macro. Well, first, let's just do a search. Can we search for randomize? We sort by name. Here's randomize. Okay. So these macros. All right, doesn't have a key command. But if we open up the macros window here, I'm figuring this all out on my own. Sorry, I'm learning on the fly with you guys. And then we go to music editing. And let's see if randomize is in here somewhere. No. No. Music creation. Randomize values. All right, cool. Maybe we could just hit this button here. Yeah, see, it changed it. That one's not bad. Let's duplicate and then try this one. All right, let's duplicate that and randomize that one, and then duplicate again and randomize that one. Let's play it all and hear how it sounds. I actually like this. So let's go to a second part now. And let's open up the arranger. We'll call this part the intro, so we're keeping things nice and tidy. And this will be the verse. So we're just going to mess with the verse now. So I liked this, but it needs more notes now. So. I'm going to add a bunch of A's. Let's hear how that sounds. All right, you get the idea. You learned along there with me, so sorry if it took me a little while to figure out the randomize feature, but maybe it's good to learn with somebody rather than somebody knowing it all already. I'm just making an excuse for my stupidity. But anyway, we went over randomize. We went over popping up some macro buttons up here to make things a little easier. I didn't know if you guys even knew about that. Using macros is kind of new to me, but it speeds up your workflow. We went over a chord track, and we went over just chucking in the arranger there. So that was kind of chock-full video for 16 minutes. Anyway, hope that helps. See ya.